Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be sewing this beautiful, super cute dress with pockets and a flare design. Yes, I started working on the dress before I decided to film, but let me catch you up on what we've done so far. I made this bodice block a few weeks ago while making another dress, but what makes this perfect for this dress is that the darts in the bust and the armhole has been transferred to the waist dart, so it already has that flare shape. And I came in the shoulder by 2 inches, and then I curved it out to create a new armhole seam. And then at the armpit, not the armpit, the side seam, I went down half an inch because I wanted it to have like a halter type cut in the armhole. I didn't want it to end at a regular armhole. Then I measured from the shoulder to the hem of the dress the desired length. The length of the dress that I use in this video is 34.5 inches, the half inch accounting for the shoulder seam, a quarter of an inch for the shoulder seam up top, and another quarter of an inch for the hem. Once I stitch it in with the horsehair, you'll see. So once I did everything on the lining piece. So once I put it on the actual piece, on the actual fabric to cut, I ran into an issue where the front piece was a little too big or wide in the flare because it was eaten into wherever the back bodice was supposed to go. So I went ahead and cut out the back bodice first because we can't make a dress without a back bodice. So once that was cut, I came in and adjusted the side seam on the front piece of the dress, and everything was good to go. Studies and life experience have shown that I'm more inclined to wear a dress if it has pockets. So here I am measuring 6 inches down from the armhole and creating a little notch for my pocket placement. Add pockets, babe. Add pockets. Pockets, pockets. No, seriously, pockets always and forever. Because where are you going to put your phone? Where are you going to put your keys? Add pockets. On a fabric like this, the front and back are twins. So in order to avoid confusion, I place some pins in the back piece, which is actually in two, to avoid any confusion. Then I went ahead and pinned the pocket bags onto the back and the front pieces. So once I stitched the pocket bag in place, I went ahead and understitched it because it just makes the pocket work better. It just functions better. Just do it, understitch it. And if you truly want your pocket to be an inseam pocket, stitch within the seam allowance. So if you have a half an inch seam allowance, stitch the pocket at a quarter inch. To assemble the dress, we pin the shoulders on the main dress piece and the lining piece and stitch at about a quarter of an inch or whatever your preferred seam allowance that you actually left while pattern making is. I used a quarter of an inch, so I went ahead and stitched at a quarter of an inch. Now once it's stitched, this is very important. You want your seam allowances laying opposite to each other once the pieces are sandwiched together. For instance, if you want the seam allowances on the lining piece to be facing the front bodice, make sure that the seam allowances on the main piece will face the back bodice. That way, when you put it together, both seam allowances are not sitting on top of each other, creating seam bulk. It just makes your garment lay a lot better. Next, we pin the neckline and stitch at about half an inch. A quarter of an inch will work as well, but I used a half an inch. So once the neckline is stitched, I put some notches in there. Then I understitched it. Understitching not only makes sure that you have a super clean garment at the end, but it also helps you to prolong going to the iron for a while. To finish the armhole, I'm basically grabbing, this is just better to watch. So I'm trying to make sure that the right sides are touching, and then I turn it inside out. Then I'm going to pull it out from the shoulder seam and stitch as far as I can. Then I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing and stitch it as far as I can. You go back, you notch your curves all the time so that the garment can lay well. This is how it looks after both sides are stitched and pressed. I didn't understitch the armhole, but I did understitch the neckline. So to close the side seam, the same thing. Make sure that the side seams are kissing and alternate your seam bulk. If the lining is laying towards the right, make sure that the main fabric is laying towards the left. We have pockets. This will matter again when we go to do the hem. So to make sure you're actually following the rule, when you go to press the side seam, just make sure you do it. If you have pockets, it's always advisable to press the pockets towards the front because that's where, ergonomically speaking, when you put your hands in your pocket, the pockets are towards the front of the garment. So I went ahead and put the horsehair braid. I attached it to the lining piece and then stitched the hem. But in hindsight, if I had to make this dress again, I would make this work as a separated piece, meaning that I will not stitch the lining to the main fabric. I will let the lining kind of free flow inside the dress and then just do the horsehair on the main fabric. The dress came out beautifully, but if the hem was separated, it would have a bit more movement in the base. Again, maybe that's just my designer eye being critical. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.